Well, all right. Happy day to you guys. Happy new week. This is Coach Lois with another monologue episode of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. I'm super excited today to talk to you guys about a topic that I wasn't planning on ever talking about on a podcast episode, but I've had so many people ask me this question and what I'm going to talk about today. So if you are tuning in live inside of my Facebook community, please do share this button, especially with people that you know who have said things like, I don't think I can afford hiring an assistant, or man, I wish I had an assistant, but I just don't know where to begin. I had actually an episode 2 weeks ago with Susie Bills. She has a virtual assistant agency that I pretty much refer to everyone. It's not a secret. I've been telling a lot of my clients and non-clients alike about what I've been able to create throughout my journey. And if you took my course, my lead generation mastery and sales course, you heard kind of my journey and how I got, from basically 0 people in my email list, 0. Hey, Sean, always good to see you. State of euphoria. I love it. But basically how I was able to go from 0 to hero, never having done online marketing, never really actually hiring an assistant specific to one that had to do with landing pages, email list building, all of the things. So I get asked these questions so often, like, hey, Lois, it was nice to hear about your story, your journey, and how you got to 5 figures and a month and all of that. What's your secrets? And so I've shared all those answers inside of my courses, but I keep hearing questions like, well, it's great that you hired a VA. I get it. But what do you have them do? Right? So I'm going to talk today about what I'm calling this episode, actually, is the 5 W's of hiring a VA. The 5 W's of hiring a VA. I'm going to go through these really quickly. I want to keep this message, as short as possible. Take copious notes. And throughout this, the benefit of being a part of my live Healthy and Wealthy and Wise Facebook community, and I am streaming live on YouTube right now as well, is you can ask questions in real time and I will answer them for you. Because believe it or not, guys, I actually now am so experienced with this. 1 year post-pandemic, it's actually this week, a year ago, March 13th, is when we went into quarantine shutdown here in California. And I'll never forget it. I was freaking out, quite honestly, and I had a lot of reasons to freak out. I was never a homeschool teacher. I didn't have a virtual assistant. It was insane. I didn't know anything about email campaigns. I didn't know anything about landing pages, none of that. So lo and behold, I started asking around, asking for referrals, hired a couple of virtual assistants. Now, truth be told, I had hired virtual assistants before back in the day, but they were usually like college students who then just basically did data entry for me. That was it. Like, I didn't attend any classes. I just dove headfirst into having not 1, but 2 virtual assistants, which I probably wouldn't recommend. Hindsight's 2020. They both had very different skill sets and all of the things. And I learned a lot through that journey. So I'm going to share with you my 5 W's of hiring a VA, of not only what to do, but also what not to do. So first things first, you probably heard the phrase, the 5 W's, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why. I'm going to do it in a little different order. I'm going to go with the who, the when, the where, the why, and then finish with the what. Because I'm probably going to spend the most time on that because that's the hardest part for a lot of people. They're like, well, what do I have them do, Lois? Can you tell me? And now I do coach on this with my clients. It is part of my 6 and 12 month programs. But you can take notes and apply this yourself, guys. So first is the who. Who are you going to hire? Now, some of these kind of build on each other. You might need to go in reverse order, listen to this a couple of different times, because I do have a team now. I don't have just 2 virtual assistants. I have 4 at this point. And they all do very specialized different things. So in some respects, you might need to start with the what, but I'm just going in this order for sake of ease. And then you can listen to this a couple different times. So the who, this was very important to me and my learning curve. Okay. Number 1, they definitely, excuse me, should be experienced. Don't, and this is just my personal opinion, don't just hire your friend who's looking to maybe make a few extra dollars and say, hey, I can help you with data entry or whatever. You want someone who's experienced. At least 2 years would be ideal in a perfect world. They knew life before COVID. They knew life now. They've made a lot of mistakes along the way. They've used other people as guinea pigs, right? And they're more seasoned. They're coachable. They're coachable. They're humble. They're not trying to tell you what to do. Granted, if they're experienced, they just know what to do and they go and do it. But they're not your coach, right? They're humble, they're teachable, they're trainable, they're coachable, and they get things done. They're typically pretty self-disciplined workhorses, if you will, right? If you have to remind them over and over again, hey, did you do that? Did you do that? You don't want to get into micromanagement. It can cost you a lot of money and be a massive distraction. Okay. Do they have testimonials? That's where, finding out an experienced person, right? You've got people who have used them before and they've created XYZ result. So you're not their first rodeo. And again, they've learned from their mistakes. They've gotten really good. They're probably way more efficient as a result. Okay. So that's the who. When do you hire them? This is my favorite answer. And some of you are going to be like, I knew she would say this. Before you really think you need them. It's when you say, oh, I got the money and I need them now. Keep in mind, it's going to take you time to find the right one. Slow to hire, quick to fire, right? So do your due diligence now. Research now. Get the quotes and the budget now, and then you manifest it, right? The other part of when do you hire them is, here's the honest truth. Okay, I'm just being totally candid with you guys. I grew up on a farm in Iowa, so I don't mince words. You're devaluing yourself if you say, I can't afford an assistant. I have probably the most affordable VA assistants that I can refer to you. They're only $7 an hour. So let's use that as an example. Even if they were $30 an hour, and there's assistants out there that I pay that are $67 to $70 an hour. They're very specialized, very, very seasoned. They are 6 steps ahead of me, right? So I pay anywhere from as low as $7 an hour to $67 an hour. It just depends on what they're doing. But either way, I charge $500 an hour for one-on-one coaching. I hired VAs before I was actually making that. I hired VAs before I was making 4 figures a month because I was thinking much bigger, much faster. I knew I would be drowning. I'd be exhausted. I'd be stressed out, burned out if I was the cook, the bottle washer, the bus boy, the everything, right? You can't be all things to all people. Customer service is key. Timely follow-up is key. Visibility and credibility is key. Having landing pages and email campaigns and all of the things. Social media posts, I'm going to get to that later, but ultimately, you don't do it all, right? You can't be a jack of all trades. Think about this. You're not a trained assistant. At least I wasn't, right? There are people out there that do better job at these things, social media, email campaigns, etc., than you do. So ultimately, at the end of the day, you definitely want to be responsible. Full disclosure, I took out a small loan that helped pay. It was an investment when I first hired both of my virtual assistants. Now, that also helped me hold their feet to the fire. Again, slow to hire, quick to fire. You want to manage expectations. That's why they need to be coachable. You want to do a probationary period of maybe 60 days and be firm in that time frame. And if they do good, then keep them going. Don't sign up for something that's a 12-month contract. In fact, you could do contractors hours, like have a pre-purchase 15 hours of time. That's how most of the ones that I work with, that's what they do. And so you can take a break and just take a step back and take stock of what they did or didn't do for you. And how well did they do it? And were they coachable, and all of the things that I said at the beginning. So again, how much is your time worth? Even if you charge $50 an hour and the assistant charged $30 an hour, you're still net profit. If they get you one lead, if they help you close sales faster in less time, just like I've experienced, they will pay for themselves. So that's the second W. Hire them before you think you're really ready. Where do you find them? I'm all about referrals. Every single one of my virtual assistants became, somehow it was referred to me. And that was part of what I said earlier about the testimonials, making sure that they have worked with someone else that you already know, like, and trust. Both of my first two assistants came from that. My third assistant came from that. My fourth assistant came from that. And of course, another option, which not ironically, two of mine are heavy on LinkedIn. If they're on LinkedIn, they have a resume, you do your due diligence, it'll all pay for itself when you have someone who's got a reputation and can be referred or found with recommendations and testimonials on LinkedIn. Maybe Facebook fan pages too. If that's even what they do for you, then that's important, right? So the why. We're wrapping it up here pretty fast, guys. I always want to keep these episodes to 15 to 20 minutes, if that. The why, right? You deserve it. You deserve to spend more time with your family. You deserve to sleep more. You deserve some time to take off and focus on your health. You deserve freedom, whatever that means to you. It's different for everyone. You deserve to live your best life. You are worthy. You are enough. And in my opinion, which oftentimes can be very strong, right? If you know me, in my opinion, not hiring one just shows a sign of scarcity and fear. Like you don't believe you're worth it. Just the act of hiring them and finding and creating the money and making that big of a business decision, because I understand there's some people out there who that's a terrifying decision. And that just tells me, and I'm going to talk about this next week. I have my next podcast monologue is going to be called, Are You Addicted to Fear? And scarcity and fear say, you don't deserve it. You're not worthy. You're not enough. You're a loser. Who's going to work for you? You just should do it all yourself, so you don't have any time to be yourself, And that's a hard thing to look in the mirror sometimes and recognize. It's true. It's true. You deserve it. You can't do it all yourself. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. And you can always start, and maybe in the meantime, you can always go to Fiverr. That's FIVERR.com. I have referred my clients who weren't ready to hire a full-blown virtual assistant to go to Fiverr and do like one-off projects. It's not the same. It's so great. My VAs, and oh, by the way, I'll tell you one more tip. It shouldn't take a lot of time to train them. Remember earlier, the first W, if they are already seasoned and experienced, you give them orders, they take off and run with them. You don't have the best assistant when you give them orders and they keep asking you questions over and over and over again. Then you would want to let that person go. Because then the flip side of that, and this is probably one of the fears, right? That's why I'm going through this process with you. One of the fears is, what if they don't produce results? What if I lose money? If you follow my 5 W's, you can't lose money. If you hire the right talent, they will make you a fortune. And the cool thing is you're making someone else an income, and there's that exchange of energy and that relationship. They can become one of your dearest and best friends because they're helping you potentially build an empire. So it's very, very, very invaluable. And I'm part of, just so you know, my background is why I was also willing to take the plunge and make the investment. And then we'll finish with the last W, is because I did have an assistant back in real estate when I was 23 years of age. I didn't want to spend time collating. I didn't want to spend time putting folders together for my buyers and sellers. That was a waste of my time. My genius, my income producing activities was shaking hands, making phone calls, connecting with people. Now it looks a little different because of the pandemic, but it's actually easier to make sales now, primarily if you have a virtual assistant who's helping you leverage the World Wide Web. So let me finish then with the what. The what do you have them do? I am going to share more, not today, but more intimately on my List Build to Freedom class next Tuesday. So a week from tomorrow on March 16th. At the time of this recording, it's Monday, March 8th. So 1 week from tomorrow is the 16th. So I'm going to be sharing more intimate details on the what and actually sharing my screen, and we'll have more time to go over that. But ultimately, that final W, the what, this is one of the things that trips up most people. Well, think about, what is it that you don't want to do that isn't your genius? Is it social media? Is it checking your email? Is it managing your calendar? Is it working with Canva, making graphics and social media posts, making your brand uniform all across your different social medias, your cover photos, managing your YouTube channel, doing podcast management, your voiceovers, your intros, your outros, things of that nature, right? Put a list together of all the things that you don't really love doing, maybe don't even like doing. Because here's the thing, guys, if you are doing all of the things and you don't like them, you're vibrating at a lower level. And that shows up in your life. It shows up in your relationships. It shows up in your marriage. It shows up in your business partnerships when you're frazzled and helter-skelter and doing it all yourself, right? So put that list together and start asking for referrals. Look on LinkedIn. Type in virtual assistant. I have a great referral for you. I have multiple referrals depending on what it is that you're looking for. If you're looking for the $7 an hour variety to do all of the basics, the email, managing your calendar, social media, and graphics, I have someone, and in fact, she does videos and she does a lot of really cool stuff. So it just depends on who you're finding, right? And then if you needed someone for your podcast, I've got someone for that. If you needed someone with INFUSIONSOFT capabilities and funnel building, email campaign stuff, I have someone for that. Doesn't have to be my people, but I highly, highly encourage you to ask for referrals of people that you know, like, and trust. So thanks guys for tuning in. There's so much more I can share with you. I might actually teach a whole class on this because I get the questions so often. But please share this. If you saw value, hit the share button with your community. Again, sign up for my List Build with Freedom, or sorry, List Build to Freedom Masterclass on March 16th, so you can get more value of how I had my virtual assistants help me build my list, how I outsourced a lot of it so I could go out and focus on my genius that got me to 5 figures plus a month. So again, until next time, guys, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.